Okay, we're live. Let me close my husband's bedroom door because I can hear him. Okay. So, questions?
Yeah. I was wondering if I was hoping you could show me how to run an LM test. Um, there's a code for it, I think, in Fernando's code,
Mm-hmm.
but I just wasn't really understanding it.
So it's just, so all he does is multiply the R squared by the number of observations. That's the R value. That's all you do. So what he does there is, yeah.
Yeah, so for his code, he takes the residuals, I believe.
Here. This.
Right.
So this here is just, he's just getting the R squared. So this here is just getting the R squared. So that's why it's $sign R squared out of the summary. So this is how you recover the R squared off this model. Temp is the model. And then he does times the number of observations of temp. And that's the LM value.
Got it. And then when reading the LM value,
that I don't really know actually what's the number you're looking for.
okay, I think
Give me one more second. Let me get my
yeah.
book, which I was supposed to have with me here. Okay. Yeah, it says this is on chapter 5. But go ahead. You were saying something.
Oh, I think you can use the code after where it's q chi squared with the values for confidence interval. I think you just plug that and then you'll be able to compare those numbers with the LM test number.
Because it's supposed to be a chi-square
Yeah.
distribution, right? So just get the...
Yeah. Yeah. So that makes sense.
Okay. Next question then. Anyone? No one?
I mean, I have another one.
Oh, good. Oh, well, yeah.
Okay. John?
Oh, I was gonna say Justin can go again. But for me, I was having a little bit of trouble. Like the very first problem, honestly, I kept getting an error. When I was copying some of the code, as there was an unexpected symbol or error, unexpected equal signs, and some of the C value stuff, which I thought was what I was supposed to use to get those two goodness of fit models, but I'm not sure if I was doing that correctly either.
Do you want to share the screen?
Sure.
Let me wait. I'm gonna have to first stop sharing mine, I think, and allow you to wait. Huh. Okay, go ahead.
So yeah, I just kept getting like these weird errors because I was trying to copy it just straight from the chapter 6 stuff. But then when I would put in like what I had for the first couple of values or the first couple formulas, I just kept getting these kind of weird looking errors.
Which question are you at? Are you one?
Yeah, this is like literally the first one with like the two methodologies trying to get the goodness of fit models for 1, 3, and 4.
Using the two methodologies described in the textbook section 6 4D, obtain and compare the goodness of fit. That one?
Yeah.
It's on the, where are you getting the errors on the last one? Predict? No.
The errors, well, this, I think, well, let me try.
Okay, there it is. Go back. Go back up. C2 equal as numeric coefficients. So exponential that blah ln. It's the ln of price 0 plus exponential, and then it's the ln of ln. Oh, okay. After price, you need to close parentheses, right? It's ln of price. But you still wait. You're still missing some. Ln of price, and then 0 plus. Okay, because you're doing the 0 coefficient coming from the origin. That one, right? You want the coefficients of the LM on that 0. The LM is good. Close once more after, at the very end. You need to close parentheses.
On line 18?
Line 15. And then one more. Then you run. Okay. It's log, another line. Wait, why is it not finding? You want to do log and not ln. Run again. You need to first go up a little. What is supposed to be H1C.LSAL?
That might have been, I might have copied that from another.
Yeah, so now the problem you have now is that it doesn't know what that object is.
Okay.
So you need to run whatever makes that object exist again.
Okay. Would that have been?
Yeah.
Would that have been like these codes, but just with like my formula in or the H?
Okay, so go back. So go up a little. So add another line on 12. H1C. 1C dot LSAL. And then the arrow. Predict HW1C, and then what was it? And then go back on the chapter just so I can. Yeah, that's That's what's supposed to be, right? Go back. Sorry. What is the other one? The other one is the residuals, right? Yeah. Okay. That's what I need for that one.
Okay. So then you just put that in and then I should be
So
good.
run line 12 now. Well, first you need to run line 10. Oh, but that's not, oh, did it work? Okay. Try now line 12. Yeah. Class formula. So that's the LM. So you're again missing some parentheses there on line 10. You want to do the LM of, and then open parentheses.
For here or?
Yeah, there. And then that's the log of price and not ln. Again, log price versus distance plus, then okay, so go all the way to the end of this line, close parentheses, then run this line. Valid model. Oh, you need to, oh yeah, you need to also let it know inside the parentheses, inside the last parentheses you've added, comma, data equal. Yeah, well, yeah, run again and see if it works. No. Is it supposed to be, let me see something. No, it's supposed to work. Can't see this price. Try to put the dist over 100 inside parentheses, the one before. Yeah, maybe that plus is. Try that again. No. If anyone want to jump in, feel free, okay?
Am I missing a parentheses here? Or?
No, we're not. Go up a little. So the A is supposed to be price over 1,000. Is it supposed to be 1,000 there? Yeah.
First one, yeah, price over 1,000.
Distance over 1,000. Distance. Well, run line 7. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Then
that's okay.
That line already is not gonna. You still are messing up the parent. So HW1A. Okay, LM. Open parenthesis. Price over 100. So open another parenthesis there. Price over 100. Distance. Put parentheses around distance over 100. It's supposed to be very similar to the other one. Plus then, yeah, keep going. And I think we're gonna need one more parenthesis. Close parenthesis. Yeah, now we're on this line. Let's see. It's gonna.
I think you need an I in front of the equation distance divided by 1,000. Like if you just put an I in front of that and an I in front of outside the parentheses, a capital I, and then outside of, yep, put an I there. And then you also need to include the data inside the last.
Well, he attached it, so it should be fine now.
Then if you run it, then.
Oh.
Okay. There we go. Thank you.
Wow, that's great. Okay, so now do the same. Thank you. On 10. So inside distance over 100. And then there, and then run that again. Okay, and now go to line, go down little, line 18. You might, wait, no.
Oh, this shouldn't I
No,
change?
no, not 18, sorry. Line 12. Okay, now run line, what was it? That one, line 15. Okay.
And then
I mean,
with
there are other problems all around regarding parentheses and so on.
yeah,
So,
and then for this, I would then have to change this. Then obviously it's log, right?
yeah, it's always log.
Always log. Okay.
But then you have the same thing, yeah. You need to do
Yeah.
the I and then the parentheses.
Right.
Hmm.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question for the group about an answer that you guys may or may not have gotten. For the LM test that I asked about like 10 minutes ago, I got the answer of 1.175146
Gonna
E.
share again, Justin, the screen so people.
Oh, yeah. Could do that. Okay. Here it is. This is the code I ran. Not sure if it's correct, but I copied and pasted the code from chapter 5. Which basically looks like this, but with the variables for the number of times arrested in 1986. And this is the answer I got for the LM test. I don't think it's right because of for the F test, I got an
Go.
yeah.
Sorry, go back to the what you ran. But
What?
so you changed the data there for the data you need?
Yeah, I did change the data.
Okay, Max. Okay, wage 2. Okay, go. Oh my God, why does it do that? Yeah, thank you. Keep going. Okay.
Like go down.
No, just keep talking.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, like I got the answer of this number right here, and I just don't think it's right because, for the F test and LM test, they're both testing whether the variables experience and tenure squared, both squared, are jointly statistically significant. And for the F test, I found that they were not jointly statistically significant, and that you reject the null hypothesis even at the 80% confidence level. But for the LM test, the LM, it looks at like it's a really low number.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure, for number one, how to interpret the low number, because I ran the chi-squared thing. So does this mean like if the LM number is a 6, then we can reject it? And so since it's such a low number that we can't reject it,
0.99.
I was just hoping for feedback from anyone who has done this question. Or if it's right or not, because I mean the code looks right because I followed the same steps from the other example.
Anyone has done that yet?
No, I haven't. I'm sorry.
I did do this, but I got I didn't know how to do the LM test. The formula that you got there, I assume that was only for heteroscedasticity. The what is it? Yeah, the squared numbers of observation times the R-squared value. I'm not sure if that could be applied to this question. It probably could, but I wasn't too sure. But for the F statistics, I also got yeah, the value was higher than the critical p-value at a 20%
Yeah.
level of significance. So
Yeah.
it's statistically insignificant. You got that too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just that in the chapter 5 code, this is the Lagrange multiplier and LM test. So like I just assume like since it says like LM test that like this is the code for it.
Right. In that case, I think you should be right though. Where did you download the chapter 6 and 7 codes?
It's on his Moodle page under our programs
Yeah.
on the top.
So
Alright.
what is the, so run just the, so on line 54, when you do this, just the part summary temp R square, what is the value there that you get? Okay, and what is the number of observations? Just a very small R squared. I couldn't see the number of observations.
Oh, it says
Yeah,
it's 935.
Yeah. It's a very small R squared. That's what's
Yeah.
weird.
So does that mean that they're not jointly statistically significant? Like that would make sense if it's like such a small R squared, then it's likely that they're not jointly.
Yeah, I mean, the way, as far as I remember, it's also has to do with how much explanatory value you're adding by having all of those variables.
Right.
But
So like what I guess I'm just like spitballing here.
just so small to the power of minus 31 there. It's just extremely small.
Like what I'm reading is that like since this LM number is here and it's the LM test number is very small.
Yeah.
The chi-squared for this, right? It's like at the 90% confidence, it's like 4.6. At the 95% confidence, it's 5.99. So like as you get more confident, the number is moving up. And since the number is very small, that means there's very low confidence level. So maybe I cannot reject it. That's what like intuitively I'm like,
Cannot reject. So as far as I understand, you cannot reject the hypothesis that those that the different betas are equal to 0.
Right. Because if you would reject it,
but in the example, so if you open your book on page 160, I don't know if everyone has the book there.
What page?
160, example 5. Well, if you have the, well, who knows? I have this very weird editions, the Chinese edition. So it is in English, but in mine it's example 5.3 on chapter 5, which is from the book. So it actually, that exercise that I have on the book there that he did there, on example 5.3 on the book, it reads, it kind of explains how to interpret the results that you get there.
What's the like section title?
So it's chapter 3. It's on the session 5.2 actually, asymptotic normality and large sample inference. It's the very end of it. So it's right before section 5.3, which is asymptotic efficiency of OLS.
Oh, okay. Right. Yeah, I'm seeing. I don't know if you guys can see my screen, but I'm on it. Like,
No,
yeah.
we can see your R. So if you want to change what you're sharing now and share,
yeah. Yep.
so
Yeah,
just go and
right
share
here.
screen and then start share. Yeah, there you go. That one.
Yeah. So like
But
right
in
here it
that
says,
example specifically, the comparison with the F test is really good. I mean, one thing. I mean, this is due on Monday, right?
yes.
So one thing you can do is email Fernando and ask him about that, saying that you're finding it weird,
Right.
that is very low, and if he says no, yeah, that's what it is. Because I mean,
Yeah.
there is a chance that there's something in the code, you know,
Mm.
but maybe it is correct.
Okay. Yeah. I'll shoot him an email, and if between now and Monday, if anyone gets like a different answer, let
It's
me
it.
know.
What time is it due on Monday?
I would assume midnight.
So I'll hold office hours this month. I never sent the email this week, but really for any week, if anyone wants to have office hours, you can always shoot me an email. Just people usually, I haven't had that much of I don't know, people don't come that frequently, but I'll shoot you an email after class today as well, and we can meet on Monday. Anyone, if you want, I'll send the typical Excel sheet with the times. Try to spread yourself, like when you put your name on the Excel sheet. I might actually change and give half an hour per person. I'm never gonna have that many people that actually need 15 minutes only. So I'll send that, and then we can check in again. So if there are certain things that you are not 100% sure, if you're having a problem with the code, or if you're having a problem with I don't know, with the econometrics of it, or you think just like this example, and then you shoot an email to Fernando and you find out that what you're getting from R is actually incorrect, we can do office hours on Monday as well and try to correct that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Next question. If you have questions on because Ajit's is also due like Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
So if you have questions on that as well, I feel like I did covered well, but
Yeah,
sorry. Yes.
I had questions from there, from Ajit's
Okay.
work. Is it true that every eigenvalue associated with the technical coefficient should be positive? Not just the maximum, but all three of them?
Yes.
What would be the issue?
Well, they could be. So the very first one. So one thing, let me say two things. One thing is the very first one should be a real number. But if any of them also has an imaginary part, R is going to give you a plus I 0,00000. So you do need that absolute value in front of the eigen. I'm not sure if people are following me. Are you following me, Prabin, when I say that? No.
Not exactly, no.
Okay, let's go step by step. Because there were a couple of things that I realized after. Let's see if this is still open. No. I hope I saved it. Yes. Okay, here. So when you do the eigenvalues, let me just. Where am I? So here, when I do the eigenvalues, in this case here specifically, you see the very first one. So when you ask me, is it positive? The real part is positive, but it can also have an imaginary part, as is the case with this one, where you have some imaginary parts. But because these two here have an imaginary part, the very first one, it looks as if it does, but this is all zero. It's supposed to be zero. So according to the Perron-Frobenius theorem, the very first one it's supposed to be between 0 and 1, and it's supposed to be real number. So this part needs to be 0. But I can't actually run the R here unless I put this abs in front of the EE. That's because otherwise this is going to try to calculate things using the imaginary part, and it doesn't matter that this is 0. It just doesn't understand an imaginary number. So you need to do that to get that. Otherwise you would have, let me show you. You would have an error because it would say complex. Okay, but continue. I feel like you're going with, you're getting negative numbers. The real part is negative.
Yeah. First, I didn't get the imaginary numbers, only absolute values. So even not using the ABS in the formula for profit, I'm getting the profit rate.
That's fine because it is possible that all numbers are actually real. That is a possibility in case all numbers are real, which was the case with the first example I gave in class last week. But yeah, they're all supposed to be between 0 and 1.
Yeah, that's they are supposed, every eigenvalue is supposed to be between 0 and 1, right?
Well,
I received one, that is negative.
Well, that's, eigenvalues can be negative. It's just they cannot. So the Perron-Frobenius theorem is specifically for some types of matrices, which an A matrix is. So it's a no-negative. What are the other parts? Anyway, so it's a specific type of matrix. So for an A matrix, there should be no negative values. So can you show me, could you share a screen quickly and show me? I never received Ajit's, I don't have his, what's the name? I don't have his assignment, so I don't know what is the table. So if you could share your screen with me quickly.
I'm using my phone. I'm away, not with my homework. Sorry for that.
Okay.
What would possibly be the issue because of which I'm getting a negative eigenvalue?
Well, I would think it's something that is happening probably before, because maybe you're calculating the eigenvalue of a, I don't know, maybe you didn't do the table correctly. So you didn't calculate your A table correctly, and therefore you're getting an A table that is not determinate and, oh my God, no negative, or I'll tell you.
I manually calculated for the technical coefficient in Excel, and I received the same values that R gives me. I don't think there's an issue there.
Can anyone, is anyone else having this problem?
The thing, Luisa, is that each one of us has to create its own table. So we all have different answers.
Okay, so the problem, so probably, Pravin, your problem is that you're creating a table, you're creating a non-viable system. That's what I would say. Did he ask you to create a viable system?
Yes, he did.
So I'm guessing your problem is your system is not viable. It wouldn't reproduce itself. Can you send me your, no, you can't. So you can't share your screen, but could you send me the table that you're using? How does your, can you invert it? Can you get a, when you get your Leontief table from it, can you do that?
Yeah, do you want me to share my Leontief table to you?
No, I wanted you to send me your A table.
Yeah, I'll do that. I don't have access right as of now.
But so
I think I
yeah,
have to
so
check
before
my
that,
network.
instead of sending me that now, can you tell me how your Leon, just tell me, did you do the Leontief table?
Yes.
How does it look like? Do you have negative values in it?
I don't. Each value is positive.
Is the main diagonal all above 1 and everything else below 1?
The main diagonal is diagonal beginning from 1, 1 till 3, 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of that is above 1, but the rest are also above 1.
Oh, so
multiple
that's
values.
the thing. So that's wrong. Your Leontief needs to look. Oh no, it could. Oh, actually no, that's, I'm sorry. That's not correct what I'm saying, because you're still measuring the system in a in the units. So there's something with the units. So everyone else had no problem. They have all eigenvalues positive.
And I have a question for Praveen. Praveen, are you using your gross output or your net output to calculate your table, your Leontief table?
I use the gross output,
Yeah.
including
Because
surplus.
in the beginning I was using net output and I had everything wrong, but I don't know what else it could be.
I'm trying to find the theorem here. Oh my gosh. Go on the, this is mathematical appendix, system of equations, the rank of a matrix. There's the eigenvalue rank. Okay, eigenvalues. Convergence. No negative. Yeah, here. No, strong version. So if your table is irreducible and non-negative, where are the theorem 1? The first eigenvalue is positive. The thing is, you could have 0 eigenvalues, but that's not the case. But that also would be weird. One thing you can do is test if your table is irreducible. And there's a test for that, which I think is just is dot you can use that test. Oh, you're not seeing my screen, right? So this is also one thing you can do. Just do is irreducible A, and you should get true.
Okay, I'll try that.
So this is one test you can do to see if you're doing a table that is consistent with what you need. And all of the values, I'm assuming that's, of course, true. All of your values on your A table are, oh, you can also look at the rank of A. No, that's not what I want. Rank matrix. Oh. Yeah, so you can also do the rank matrix A, and you need to get 3. The very first thing you're going to get is a 3. So you need a matrix that is full rank and is irreducible. And it is going to be non-negative in the sense that it won't have any negative numbers in it. So non-element, you can't have a negative element on your A, and I think that's the case. You didn't put any negative coefficients, right? It needs to be irreducible, and it needs to be full rank. Which in your case, it is full rank because you were able to invert it. So, not sure. It would be good for you to share, if you can send me your, either your A table or your, better yet, would be your inputs table and your gross output table. So like, you know, the main table you have, like that.
Yeah, sure. I'll check for it once myself
Yeah.
and then reach out if it didn't work.
The
I had
other
one
thing,
also.
oh,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, one more question. After I have calculated the rate of profit using the maximum eigenvalue, then the second thing Ajit wants me to calculate is the prices. And this is a system where wages are included in the means of subsistence. So there's no wage that is separate, that is not a variable, that is included in the means of subsistence. I'm not getting the right formula to, right code to calculate prices there.
Sorry, I don't understand. What does he want you to do?
He wants us to calculate the prices of the 3 commodities that we use, taking one of the commodities as the numeraire. But this is a system
not the net output, not the net output as the numeraire.
No, not the net output. One of the commodities.
Okay.
As the numeraire, and then and this is a system where wage is not a separate variable that is taken out of surplus. We don't have that V or WL component in the equation, in the price equation.
Okay.
And I didn't figure out the code that could give me the prices there.
So you don't have the wages, or he doesn't want you to use he says he doesn't want you to use the wages?
Yeah, wages are itself a part of the input. In the input output table, whatever commodities we use there, wages is culminated there. There's no separate ways. I understood it that way. I don't know if that's right.
Angelica, you want to say something?
Well, I thought that we needed to calculate embodied labor.
Yeah, that's what I would think, but I don't understand what
it's not in.
You don't want to have the wages.
Yeah, it's not in terms of wages, but I think it's in terms of other materials of our like goods. I think that embodied labor is in terms of that, but not in wages.
So you
I can forward to you.
So it is so because I haven't seen he didn't send me this year's assignment. He sent me last year's assignment. So it was based on last year's assignment that I did the class last week. I still haven't seen this assignment. So I'm not really sure what he's asking you to do, but the way you would calculate the prices is first, you're gonna get the wages that are proportional to embodied labor. So first you need to get the embodied labor, which this is one thing I did last week, which is not just supposed to be. So what I calculated with you is the labor coefficients, the direct and indirect labor coefficients. You also want to multiply that by the net output to have that in terms of each of those commodities, and that would be the embodied labor. But then you do want to get the W. You want to get that wage to then calculate the prices. So you would use these two formulas to calculate the prices. You first would calculate the W star and then calculate the prices. But again, I haven't seen the assignment. Angelica, does this make sense given how this assignment is to you?
Well, I had a problem just in calculating the embodied labor, so I haven't go forward. But I will send you. I will send you the assignment so you can see it.
Yeah.
Yes.
But so Prabin, let me see if I understood your question. Your question is, in the price function that you have to calculate prices, there is a wage that you need to input there, and you do not know where to take this wage from. Is that what you're saying?
No, I was thinking in this system, we don't need to input waste separately. That is how I understood that chapter, and now I'm confused.
You don't input wages, you input the labor. So did he ask you to also add a labor vector? How many people are working in the system, or how many hours it takes to produce those goods?
I don't think so, no.
So there is no labor in the system?
Well, he didn't ask us to do that, but I assumed he was expecting that because of the examples we did in class. So I did put labor input.
I mean, not having labor, it's kind of against the theory itself, because this is assuming labor theory of value and assuming that labor is what produces value. So having a system with no labor doesn't make much sense for me. So what I'm saying, Prabin, I don't think he's asking you not to input wages. He's just not explicitly telling you that you need to, but you are not going to choose those wages. You are going to calculate the wages through the embodied labor. But,
yeah, I get that.
Yeah. I don't know if anyone wants to send me the assignment. That might help a little. It's very hard to answer on something I haven't seen.
Yes, Luis, I am about to send it to you.
Thank you, Angie. Anyone else has had problems with Ajit's assignment, or?
I have a problem in calculating my embodied labor.
Do you want to share your screen?
Yes, sure. But I haven't sent it to you. Should I wait a second?
Yeah, if you want to send it first, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I just sent it to you, Luisa.
Okay.
Luisa, can
Yeah, I'm reading. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay, let me see yours. So what does he mean by do not? No distinction is made between means of production and means of subsistence.
Well, I think he means that when we are um, developing the input-output table, the input elements include the wages there itself.
That I'm not really sure. So what you're saying is that the way you're interpreting this is that your last row, which would be the labor, you already have the labor embodied in each of the commodities itself.
The wages are embodied in the commodities. The last low labor would still reflect the units of labor required to produce those commodities, but the wages that those labor get is included in the elements of input, is how I read it.
Okay, let me go now to see what Angie was gonna ask. Angie, you were sharing the screen.
Yeah, one more second. I will share it now. Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. My question is, when I do the matrix multiplication between like the labor vector and the matrix, the Lagrange Leontief.
Well, your labor, is your labor there the coefficient, or is your labor there the labor?
Is a vector.
No, I know, but is it a vector where each number is the total amount of labor? Is the labor per
It's in
unit?
coefficient, per
Huh?
unit.
Per unit?
Yes.
Okay.
The problem that I have is that my unit of, I'm sorry, my vector, it's like doesn't look like a vector, looks like a row. And then like if I do this and then I put it as a matrix, then it looks like a matrix. And for some reason you had this in your video of last week, like a transpose, or I don't know how to say it, but then it converts it back to not being a vector, look. So I
mean, that's not necessarily what happens when you do run
so
line 48.
the problem when I do this is that I also did it manually and it doesn't calculate it correctly. I don't know why.
Can you run the line 48 for me?
Yeah. I'll run this first and then. Oh no.
So yeah, so do T of L in line 48.
T of L.
Yeah.
Like this?
Yeah.
But
you're saying those numbers are incorrect?
Let me check with what I did manually. Yeah, I don't have those values. Because I think that the problem is that when we do the transpose of labor, it is not a vector anymore. And I don't know how the multiplication.
It is a vector, otherwise it would not be, because this is a matrix multiplication.
Yeah.
The only way you can get that to multiply is if that's a vector, a 1 by 3, because you're multiplying it by a 3 by 3. And then what you get as a result is a 1 by 3.
Yeah. But can I show you my calculations so you can see that they are different? Thank you.
Because then after that, so the body and labor, actually after that, it would need to multiply by the net product.
Let me see. I also have many tabs open. Okay, I will stop sharing that and I will show you my calculation. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Okay. So this is doesn't look really good, but this is my, okay.
That's a very
matrix.
That's a very Latin American example. I like it.
I made it like for fun. And these are my coefficients of labor. So I did my matrix like multiplication like this. And this is the sum. And I forgot to do the last one, but it wasn't the same. They weren't the same values.
Well, but there already have 0.0. Go back to your R.
Okay.
This is something. I'm confused with something.
Right.
You still have 0.083 and then 0.047, but there have 0.47.
I know.
So already your coefficients are different.
But I took my coefficients from here. So I don't know if I should do it just manually and
You see how the coefficients are already different?
so you want me to show you my coefficients? These are the
I'm
coefficients.
saying the labor coefficient is different than what you have on Excel there, that what you're using too.
I will check. Okay, I will check that.
No, wasn't it?
Um,
And it's also different from what you have there. I'm very confused.
that's true. That's true. I don't know why.
And also, yeah, so I don't know even, so maybe your Leontief is also different.
Yeah, two of my coefficients are different.
Yeah, I mean, that shouldn't change the first, no, it shouldn't change the first one. And that's already different what you're getting. So also your Leontief might be different.
Like yeah. I don't know then what should I like start doing it again and
Just,
make sure.
just make sure you're calculating the same thing.
Yeah, that's true.
And you're inputting the same values because, yeah.
Thank you, Lisa.
So let's do a 5-minute break and be back at 11:10. Okay. Prabin, are you there?
Yes.
And Jerry also there?
Yes,
So,
I'm also here. I'm also here.
okay, so, and well, I guess anyone can jump in, but I'm just thinking here. One thing he might be saying, and then Prabin would be correct, is that if this system is such where the wages are already, so the subsistence is already within the system, and you do not need to input a labor, and you do not need to calculate the labor embodied because it is already embodied in the inputs itself. Basically what we would have is at the maximum rate of profit. So we have two extremes here. So what happens in the system is when your rate of profit is 0, wages are equal to labor embodied. When your profit rate, so this is like, and because of labor theory of value, basically what this is saying is that there are no, all the surplus goes to labor, right? So the wages are gonna be reference to that embodied labor. When the system goes to the maximum rate of profit, what you have is that wages go to 0, right? So all surplus goes to capitalists, everything is extracted. So if the subsistence is already in the system, one way of interpreting this is that you are calculating the prices for the maximum rate of profit. And in that case, your wages would be 0. But I don't know if that works.
Well, in that case, how would we calculate prices in R?
Great
I
question.
have two price equations. For example, something times P1 plus something times P2 equals P1, and of course including the rate of interest 1 plus R, and similar other equations.
Rate of profit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's two equations. We can manually solve that by simultaneous equations method,
Yeah.
and I don't know how to do that in R.
I mean, the other thing, so one thing you're gonna need to do is you're setting one price equals to, one of the prices is gonna be equal to 1, right?
Right.
This is one of the equations you're gonna have.
But Praveen, didn't prices would be like, I don't know. I will send that formula in the chat.
Let me see something. Yeah, but the problem, well, yeah.
Because I think that in one of the slides that we saw the other day, prices was equal, like there is this equation that says prices are equal to price of, it says a P of times A. I think I will send it. But like, I think we just do not consider embodied labor in the formula, and then we solve for P given the rate of profit that we calculated with the maximum eigenvalue.
Right, that's what I'm saying. There's only 3 variables in an equation. That's P1, P2, and R. And there are 2 such equations. Now R is, we have calculated R using the maximum eigenvalue. So we are left with P1 and P2 as unknowns in the 2 equations. Now that is what I need to solve in R, if given the assumption that subsistence is included in the inputs.
Yes, exactly, I think. I will still ask Ajit if he believes that embodied labor is included in the inputs, just to make sure.
I'm just trying to, there's a very simple. Oh my God.
I just sent in a question in the chat.
Yeah, the problem.
Yeah, that is the kind of equation, and we have two of this. Sorry, three of this for the three industries. That includes P1, P2, and P3, and then 1 plus R. So given we now know the R, how do we solve the three set of equations in R?
P1, what is the point here? So it's P1 times 80 plus P2 times 20? Or is P times 1.8? P, I don't understand. Can you explain what the equation is there? Is the point supposed to be at times? Previn?
Yeah. Yeah, the P1 is price of commodity 1, and P2 is price of commodity 2.
So it's
I
P1
miswriting.
times 80 plus P2 times 20
Right.
times
And I
1 plus R is equal to P1.
Right. And I missed writing P3 times some number there because it's a 3 commodity industry.
You're basically gonna also add another equation saying P1 is equal to 1, or P2 is equal to 2, or P3 is equal to 3, right?
I have, so this is one example of one equation. I have 3 such equations.
I'm saying you're gonna need a fourth equation, otherwise your system is undetermined, right?
Right. The fourth equation would be using the numeraire, I
Yes,
guess.
just saying
Which
P1
is,
is equal to 1, and then you just solve the
right.
system of equation.
Yeah, exactly. And how do I solve that in R is my question.
So one way is that you actually get the, so basically what we were doing before is that we're getting the solution by hand of the price vector. And that's what we did before, right? And we inputted that the price vector is equal. So that's what that last equation that we had last week was. Otherwise, it's gonna be, you're gonna have, you basically need to, by hand, work out this. So this system is actually, you can write this as a matrix where you have the, so rewrite this, instead of thinking that this is 3 equations, you understand that your system of unknowns is a vector. So your variables are in a vector form, and you're going to have everything on the right side except the vector that you need to solve for, which is your price vector. So by hand, figure out what your price vector P is equal to in a matrix form. And then you just insert that into R and it solves for you, because you're going to have all of the things that are on the right side. Makes sense what I'm saying? No.
I think I understand.
You got it for me for a second. Can you repeat the last sentence?
So what I'm saying is, so here you're I mean, there are a few things you can do. One is, if you actually want to do a solving thing, there are other softwares that would be better. So you could use Mathematica, for example, except that you don't have Mathematica Access anymore, which is super annoying. But otherwise, what you would do is, instead of writing, so this you're writing, you're saying that you have 3 equations. So instead of thinking of these 3 equations, write your system of equation in matrix form. So on a paper, put the system of equations in matrix form, and this actually becomes just one such equation, where you have on the left side your vector of unknowns, and on the right side a matrix multiplication of things that you do know. And then you're just going to input that into R. So you're going to have P is equal to things that you know. So that's basically what we had before. Here we had that our P, and this is a vector, is equal to this, things that we do know. So basically what you need to do now is understand what is such an equation, given that the system is slightly different now. We don't have a W star. And so one interpretation, as I was saying, is just that when your system goes to big R, what is the price? And you can even find that on the book. I think that's what's confusing me, because I think, well, that's in the commodity sense. The price is, because in this, yeah, here the W would go to 0. So this whole thing would go to 0. But you're not, so there are 2 things. One is, this is not measured at the maximum rate of profit. This is not the price at the maximum rate of profit. This equation is for the price at the rate of profit of 10%. And the second thing that this is this is the price solution for the standard commodity. So here I'm not, the numeraire is not a random commodity. The numeraire is the net output. So this is the Rafa system solution. So what you need to find is what is the equation that solves this system in the case that you need, in the case that he asked you to do. Make sense what I'm saying?
Yes, yes.
So yeah, so my answer is solve it by hand and then input there. So find your matrix solution to your system of equations instead of writing in terms of system of equations. If you do want to write in terms of system of equations, when I do have system of equations to solve, then I usually go into there are other softwares that would be better. I know he also showed you. So let me show you. Yeah. So for something like that, you could use something like Mathematica, where then you're inputting things, and then you would solve for specific values, for example. I don't know if you're seeing my Mathematica. Oh, you're seeing the wrong one. Yeah. So this is where I go to when I want to solve a system of equation as equations. So something like this, you wouldn't really do in R. At least I wouldn't. But the other thing I can tell you is the solution to that is also, take a look as well in the readings, in the chapter chapter 5 in your Pazzinetti book. I don't know if you have the Pazzinetti book, this one. I know he sent you some chapters.
Thank you, Luisa.
Yes, Sarah, thank you.
I don't see anyone anymore. I don't know what happened. Do you have anyone has other questions on Ajit's problem set?
I have a question on Fernando's problem set.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Question to number 4 or Roman numerals 4. Yeah.
Question 2. Wait. Oh, you're back at. Are you back at Fernando's?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Wait. Fernando 2, number 4. The Chow statistic test.
Yeah. What is meant by that? Is it the F statistics or the like? Because I looked at his slide and I wasn't really clear on what he meant by Bachar statistics.
I do not know. An F-test for testing the equality of regression parameters across different groups.
So we just perform an F statistics on all the variables.
Yeah, it's an F test specifically to test this if beta across different groups, say men and women. Oh, okay. So you would have 2 models. What is let me read the question. Yeah, so you have the model for blacks and the model for non-blacks. So you would run the LM for blacks and non-blacks. So subset your data, run those 2 models, and then you're gonna run an F-test to test if the betas of those 2 models are all the same.
Okay. And so we look at the 2 models, and so we just plug in their R-square values in the F formula, right?
You did something like that on the last assignment, no?
Yeah, I just want to double check that I'm thinking about this correctly. But I think we did the very last question on the last assignment.
It's this one, I think. Something. No, that's not the one. Yeah, I think it's something around. I guess you can use the F-test. That's what he does here. This. But then he also gives you an alternative of using the R-squared.
Yeah. And like when using the R squared, like, so is the restricted model the ones without the blacks? And then,
Well, it's slightly different. So here you're not talking about comparing a restricted and an unrestricted model. You're comparing two similar models, and it's you're running two different samples. I think the second part of it, where you have the dummy, might be the restricted versus unrestricted, but I'm not 100% sure. Anyone want to jump in here as well? The questions are asking are really much more about the econometrics part and the R part.
yeah, it's okay. I try to talk to him before it's due.
But there was, yeah, because there was something very similar last week, which was not about just the restricted and unrestricted, was about comparing two different models, no? Or no? I'm
I
confused.
just remember the restricted and unrestricted.
Well, you can also go, where is it in the book? This is somewhere here as well. Here. Yeah, so go on chapter 7, 7.4c. That's what you would follow.
Okay.
You have the F test equation there. So equation 7.24. So I think you're actually, I think you're comparing, is that what you do? It might be that what, yeah, here. And it's a term, the particular F statistics usually called the Chow statistic in econometrics. It's just an F test. I think what you're doing is that you're gonna run the total sample and then compare that. So your unrestricted is the model that you have, and then the restricted would be the sum of the other two. Somehow. The restricted sum of square residuals is just the SSR from pooling the groups and estimating a single equation. So the unrestricted model is the SSR of 1 plus 2. And then the restricted is for the full thing. here. Yeah. So the unrestricted, you're gonna do the sum of this plus, so you're gonna do the two different models. So the residuals of the male and the residuals of the female model. That's what you would use here. And then for the restricted, you would just use the model of the full sample.
Male and female model, or does it talk about?
Oh, sorry, not male and female, sorry. Black and non-black.
So black and non-black for the.
So the unrestricted, you would have this for blacks and this for non-blacks added up separately.
How do you? So what do you mean
So
by?
you need to calculate three models here. You need to calculate the full sample model. You need to calculate one just for blacks and one just for non-blacks
Mhm.
by sampling, by doing subsets of your sample.
Yeah. And then what do you mean by added up? Like, do we add up our square values?
You add that. So you add the two SSR. So you're doing, so basically your SSR U is going to be equal to your SSR black plus SSR non-black. So before that, you would have a SSR black, which is going to be equal to this, but for your model subsetting your sample just to blacks. Look into equation 7.24. That's the one you need to do. I'm just trying to let you know what he means by SSR1 and SSR2. What are those?
Mhm.
And then you're going to apply that. And SSR1 is the SSR. So it's the residual squared of your model run just for the black population.
And then SSR2 is the non-black population.
Yes.
And then SSRP is the total.
Yes.
Okay. And what's N in this example? Because I guess it's the same for all three models. Right?
Well, that's a good question. I think the N is for the full model because you have an N1 and an N2, right?
Yeah. And also, K, when we look at the number of independent variables.
Yeah, your N is N1 plus N2, so it's the N of the full sample. It's the N of the SS of the P. Go ahead.
And how about K? Is that also the K of the full
It's
sample?
also for the full, yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
I mean, at least, yeah, go look a little more, but this is how I understand this question and how I would solve it. But if you want to check with Fernando, it might be worth it.
Mhm. All right, thank you.
Okay, who else? Oh, I have a lot of. Do I have more questions? I don't even know who is here anymore. I don't know if I don't have that many people left.
All right, I mean, since no one else has a question, for number one,
Yeah.
I just want to validate my answers, I guess. So price over 1,000 to get the mean, because like when we look at the price elasticity, we want the mean of those variables, right?
You want them, well, so this is something I was actually thinking about yesterday when I was looking, because he says, use the average distance as point of reference for this analysis, right?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
so the way I understand this, and anyone can please tell me if they interpret it differently. For the mean that you need for X, you're gonna use the average. So, because basically the formula is delta P over delta distance
Mhm.
times distance over P, right?
Yeah.
So he's saying for distance, use the average distance. But he never says what you need to use for P, which you need for the first one. You don't need it for 2, 3, and 4, right? But you do need for the first one.
I'm guessing he used like the average P, right? Like the average.
No, what I would use is the predicted P for the given average X.
Predicted P for a given average.
So when X, so according to your model, when X is equal to 10, let's say, what is the P? The P is beta 0 plus beta 1 times 10 over 1,000 plus beta 2, 10 power of 2. You see what I mean?
Mhm.
So substitute in the mean of the distance into the model.
In this model, the mean of a distance would be the average marginal effect, right? Because it's quadratic.
The mean of the distance would be the mean of the distance would be just the mean of distance. And then you would input it here and here.
Oh, is it? Huh.
What do you mean? I don't understand.
Sorry, I guess I'm trying to. I don't know, because it's a quadratic.
Let me just do one thing, because everyone left. It's just you now. So I'm gonna first stop the live. So if you are watching the live now, this is where the live ends. I'll be available for office hours on Monday.